Welcome to the Awaken Your Kundalini Summit, where leading Kundalini teachers and practitioners are sharing wisdom and practices to shift your frequency and create a more connected relationship with yourself. Share this event with your friends and family, and join us on Facebook at The Shift Network. And now your host, Kia Miller.
Welcome, everyone. I'm really delighted to introduce our next guest, Gloria Latham. She is a longtime Kundalini practitioner and teacher, student of Gurumukh, mentored by Gurumukh. She has 4 very well-known studios in Canada and is dedicated in her life to helping people to transform and grow and evolve. So welcome, Gloria. So nice that you could join us here.
Thank you, Kia. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
So, Gloria, share a little with us. How did you get involved in Kundalini and Kundalini yoga, and why? I guess I could say.
So, before I get started, Kia, I just want to apologize for any background noise. We've got quite a windstorm happening here in Vancouver today. Basically, I got into Kundalini yoga at a point in my life where the stress had built up so much for me. I honestly felt like I was barely breathing. Things had just gotten out of hand in my personal life, and it was almost like a last-ditch effort to feel good. And I still remember the day I tried my very first yoga video, and I remember how amazing I felt when I finished. It was a 15-minute video. I actually snuck home from work to do this video because I was so desperate to try something to help me feel better. And I remember getting up off the floor and just being blown away. I really needed to understand what had just happened to me. And I walked straight out my door and went to the only yoga teacher I knew in our community. And she happened to be a Kundalini yogi. So the video I did was not a Kundalini yoga video, but I was led to what I believe is the exact style that I needed, because it affected so much change for me personally so quickly. I needed something that worked fast, and that's what Kundalini yoga did for me. It changed my life fast.
And as a teacher of this now, can you talk a little bit about how was it changing you? What about the practices and what was changing for your experience?
Mm-hmm. It's interesting because if I look back at my life and look at what's happened since then, it's not necessarily that I have less stressors in my life or less to do. It's how I was reacting, how I react and manage the things in my life is what's completely changed. So things that would have been so difficult for me then are things that I don't respond in the same way to anymore. So it's really exactly what Kundalini yoga does. It strengthens your nervous system. You hear in the practices talking about developing nerves of steel, and that's literally what it feels like. It gives you this incredible strength to face whatever it is you need to face, and to do it with more grace and more ease. And I'm so grateful for this practice.
Thank you, Gloria. It's definitely been my experience too. Whenever you start to engage in practices that not only balance the physical body and the nervous system, but start to build energy and vitality and dissolve and move us through, in my case, and what I see from many students, is the emotional cleansing that happens when you embark on these practices. So many of the emotions that we stuff, that we don't pay attention to, that we choose not to process, they have to come out at some point, and this is definitely one of the roots. Did you have any experiences like that yourself doing these practices?
Absolutely. I think it's essential to have that daily cleansing process. I mean, all the things that we don't want to face are going to come, I was going to say they're going to come bubbling up. The stuff that we stuff down is really the stuff that makes us ill. It's the stuff that at some point your body won't let you ignore that anymore. So we may manifest some sort of illness, or we blow up at the people in our lives and we affect our relationships very negatively. So yes, absolutely. This is a huge part of the practice, this daily subconscious cleansing. We don't even know how much we've stuffed down and how much that's holding us back.
So Gloria, you do a lot of work with people, helping them to tune into, I guess you would call it their soul purpose, or their leadership potential. Can you talk a little bit about how you got to this line of purposeful work yourself with people, and how you're using the Kundalini practices to help them to access this?
Yeah. Well, this work is really challenging work. Facing yourself, this inner journey, this cleansing work takes a lot of courage. And because this work is so challenging, I begin my journey with my students largely by having them reconnect to the why you're here. I mean, really what we're talking about is your Kundalini energy, your untapped potential, it's your purpose. But that is really, that's a daunting question. If I were to ask you, Kia, what's your life purpose? It's a bit too scary of a question to ask someone. So I try to get them to really just hone in on what's most important to them right now. What is one thing that they could do or make happen this year that would change everything for them? And I start by having them really envision what that would look like. And the entire process involves a lot of inner work. So they're exploring this one thing, this what's important to them from a true desire of the heart. So what's really true and real for them, not expectations of others, really what their soul goal is. So we start there because the work is so challenging. They need some excitement and enthusiasm to do this work. If I were to say to someone, come on in, we're going to do this deep subconscious cleansing, and a lot of stuff is going to come up, that's a bit daunting. And it's a lot easier to take them to that place after you help them see the potential of the work. So if I can help you envision, I call it crystallizing your vision. If I can help you get crystal clear on why you're here, who you're here to be, on what's most important to you now, what could change everything for you, we need that level of excitement to then dig down and do the subconscious cleansing that we have to do to reach that next level, right? Because you can't reach that level without removing the blocks, doing that cleansing work you referred to.
Wonderful. And so talk a little bit about the kinds of practices that you employ, that you would advise people to employ when they're going about this process of refining themselves, of clearing away the blocks.
Right. So there are 3 key elements to this work, and one of them is definitely the physical practice. And one of the most beautiful things about Kundalini Yoga is how simple it is. The movements are super easy for anybody to do, and also how freeing the practice is, because it's not like other practices where there are levels or poses to achieve. So it's just breath and movement. It's super, super simple. So that's a very important part of the practice, is the physical practice, meditation, and developing a consistent meditation practice, and then self-inquiry work, really digging deep and finding your answers for yourself, getting closer to the voice of the soul. So those are the 3 main elements I work with students in this process.
Beautiful, thank you. And I just want to clarify for our viewers here, because we've been listening to and I've been having conversations with Kundalini teachers from many different lineages. Obviously, we're all talking about the same thing. We're all using practices that are similar, if not similar in technique, definitely similar in the direction that they're pointing the practitioner towards. So just clarifying that when you're speaking about Kundalini, you're speaking about Kundalini as taught by Yogi Bhajan, right? And those are the practices that you're employing.
Yes and no. I don't teach the Kriyas as taught by Yogi Bhajan. All of the work I do has been based on the work that Yogi Bhajan brought, based after years and years of studying, but I've definitely made changes to those practices. So it's not exactly Kundalini Yoga as taught by Yogi Bhajan.
Okay, great. Thanks for clarifying that. I didn't want to bring in any level of controversy. I was just looking to understand your background and what you were teaching to clarify for people. But good, we're talking about pranic-based practices, dynamic movements, ways that people can simply engage the pranic force in their body and access different states of consciousness, right? So, anything else that you'd like to share about your experience of this kind of practice, or what you may want to invite people into through this talk?
Well, first of all, I really want people to really embrace how powerful this work can be, and sometimes just by demystifying it a little bit and making it more real for somebody, that really encourages them to stay motivated and stay on track with the practice. So, for example, helping someone get crystal clear on what their vision is, creating that level of excitement is the type of energy you need to stay dedicated to a daily practice of yoga and meditation. And really, yoga and meditation I would say it has to be a daily practice or nothing at all, because if you're not practicing consistently, you'll never achieve the same benefits. It's a nice stretching exercise, it's relaxing, it's lots of other things, but it's not really yoga. You're not really experiencing the true power that's available to you. So there is this incredible power that's available to you. It's your potential. It's what you're here to do. It's who you're here to be. And it's so simple to access that energy. So taking terms like Kundalini energy and helping people understand that that's your potential, then it doesn't become something esoteric and strange that they can't really attach to, but it's something real for them. So taking things and translating them so that they understand that the chakra system isn't just some strange philosophical concept. It's really a roadmap for your personal development. So that's the journey I like to work with students, is talk about, first chakra is fear. It's if your fear is out of control, you're never going to take a risk. You're never going to create change. You're going to stay stuck in survival mode, and you deserve far more than that. Drawing on all the gifts that the chakras have to offer us, all you have to do is by getting on your mat and taking that inward journey day after day after day.
Wonderful, thank you. And so I'd like to talk about that next, because it is the common theme within everything, all of the discussions that I've had, is this idea of sadhana, of the daily practice. Can you talk a little bit about, the science of the daily practice and how that's working to help somebody to positively change?
I always say if you don't do a sadhana, it's almost like you're taking 2 steps forward, 3 steps back in your life. You need to get on the path, and you need to keep moving forward. And your sadhana is your opportunity to cleanse everything that came before. Not only things from way back in the past, but all your experiences of yesterday. If you keep dragging all that emotional residue into the next day, the only thing you're doing is recreating the past. So this is your real opportunity for change. You sit and you clear away the hold that all this buried emotion has on you, because as we said, we're not even aware of how much we stuff down. Every day we're triggered by something upsets us, we get angry at someone, and what do? We stuff it down, and it has a tremendous impact on our development, on our life, on our relationships, on our health, on everything. So daily sadhana is how you clear the past and you create today. I like to refer to it as pre-deciding how your day is going to look. I can sit in meditation and I can look ahead and decide that I want to be less reactive, kinder, more loving, more at peace. Everything else that you want in your life, all the things, we don't have to worry about those things. We have to worry about what's most important, and being at peace and having a still and quiet mind and being able to be kind and loving with each other. Everything that we need, all the abundance, all the prosperity, all the dreams we want to manifest, will just naturally fall out of that place if we're really living aligned with that beautiful place inside us.
Thank you so much. I can see why you're such a beloved teacher to so many. Just such practical, everyday wisdom, and it's far more relevant for all of us, I think, to be tending to the practical nature of what it means to be alive. That doesn't mean that we have to be focused just in the practical outward expression of life, but just that turning inward and understanding who we are and why we are, and starting to make better decisions that feel in alignment with our truth. And I think that's somewhere where many of us struggle in, just breaking. I think it's Joe Dispenza who says it so beautifully, breaking the habit of being you. And so clearly that's what you're doing in your work too. So can you talk to that perhaps a little bit, this kind of reweaving of yourself?
Yeah, I often ask students, did you become the person you intended to be? We have this vision of ourselves, of who we really want to be showing up in the world as, and our behavior isn't necessarily matching that. And we'll continue to have that disconnect if we don't do that cleansing work, if we don't let go of all the patterns that have created the life we're currently living. And, it's pretty good. It's not all bad, but we can all do better. We can all do better. And it is breaking those reactive patterns. So, we have to release the past to be able to create the future. We have to be clear. We have to be calm, focused. And there's so many things in our lives that can really work against us if we don't take control of things. Even the way our technology is set up, there's so, just watch the way you go online. You're on one site, and then within minutes, you've got 20 different tabs open. Imagine what that's doing to your focus, to your concentration. Yoga is an energy management system. You want to get on track, and you want to be moving in the right direction in your life. You want to start aligning yourself with your higher conscience, with your soul goals. And it's just like having all those browser tabs open. You don't know where to go next. We want to shut down those tabs at some point, especially first thing in the morning. Focus, decide how I want to direct my energy. I want to decide how I want to be showing up in my life, and move from that place. Start taking my cues from the inside and less direction or paying less attention to how things look from the outside, and being far more motivated by how things feel on the inside.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. I wonder if you could talk to the person who when they close their eyes and they go in, they get overwhelmed. Like the clarity of the soul voice is not necessarily there, or life just feels overwhelming, and this is another thing to do. What would you say for that person?
That their experience is very real and valid, and there absolutely are tools to help that person. I am that person. That's where I started, and I still struggle with that very busy, overactive mind, and that is why I absolutely love this practice. The practice of Kundalini Yoga is such a tremendous release. It is impossible to do this practice and not feel better almost instantly, and that on its own is enough motivation to keep me doing it day after day after day. I often say I'm afraid of the person I would be if I didn't practice this. I'm not the person that wakes up every morning I'm not a happy morning person ready to greet the day. I have to work to happy. That's my wiring. But with Kundalini Yoga, I get there so much faster. And that has a tremendous impact on everyone in my life, not just my own health and happiness. And so that person who is afraid of what's inside, it's stuff that has to be faced. And the beauty of the practice is it does it in such a simple way, and it does it so quickly. And that is the power of this practice. It changes how you feel immediately. And when you change how you feel, that changes your actions, and that changes your life.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you for that. And I love that you said, I have to work to be happy. Just that idea that if we're not blessed to be waking up with our positive mind, like running the show, if we do get caught in the web of negativity, that just to remember that if we get on the mat, if we practice, if we do some strong practice, and by strong I don't mean hard, but just something that moves our energy, that we can create happy, as you so beautifully said.
I had a trick for years where I had my yoga mat right beside my bed. So the very first thing my foot touched when I got out of bed was the yoga mat. So that was my reminder. It's like, right, this is my priority. So just a little tip for those of you struggling to get on your mat every day. Even if you just got on your mat and did a few rounds of sun salutations, literally anything, or a couple rounds of a few minutes of breath of fire, literally anything will help.
Wonderful. Thank you. Yes, it is that. Just remembering, knowing yourself. And so doing a little personal inventory of yourself, knowing yourself. Okay, I wake up in negativity, for example. Great, then I have to make a little non-negotiable with myself. I'm going to get on my yoga mat and do some breath until I just clear that negativity. And I think one thing that I found that's helped so much is to not take my thoughts personally and to not take life personally. So then it's not about me. It's just, okay, I'm in this vehicle, and in this particular vehicle that I'm in right now, there's a whole lot of negativity. Okay, how can I shift that so I can see more clearly? Or, wow, I'm stressed out right now. Okay, so how do I move the stress out of this vehicle that I'm in? And so I can see more clearly. So for me, it's helpful to depersonalize our many of our sort of experiences that are unhelpful.
Mm-hmm. I often think back to something one of my teachers told me, one of my very first teacher trainings, and it was very simple. She says, "You are not your mind." And to me, that was the most freeing statement I had ever heard. It's so easy to get caught up in those negative mind states, and the mind can run wild. I refer to it as a storyteller. The mind is a storyteller, and depending on how you wake up feeling, you can drive yourself down into some really negative states, and you have to stop it. You have to take control. You have the ability to take control. Just like you said, what is that non-negotiable? If this is my tendency, what is my non-negotiable to get me back to happy fast? And if you can't do it for yourself, then do it for the people you live with.
Wonderful. And what this does is it's inviting, I guess I could speak for you too here. We're inviting all of you listeners just to start to take that radical self-responsibility, that when you get stuck, the way that it's going to change is when you make the change. And these can be small changes, can actually bring small actions can bring pretty big changes when it comes to some of this breath work within these Kundalini practices. You mentioned breath of fire, and I wonder if you might just talk a little bit about Breath of Fire and maybe just demonstrate so people could just grab like a very accessible little tool here that they could be using in their life.
Yeah, Breath of Fire is amazing. I mean, it's such a powerful technique. It's cleansing, it's energizing. So really, it's an amazing thing to do first thing in the morning or anytime at all when you need to clear something out or build your energy. So the inhale and exhale are equal in length, and on the exhale, think of pulling the belly up towards the spine. So it's a pumping action on the belly. On the exhale, the belly moves back towards the spine, and on the inhale, the belly just relaxes, it gets big. So both the inhale and exhale are through the nose. So it sounds like this is quite powerful. You can do the breath on its own, or you can even incorporate it with a pose. And when you add it to a posture, it intensifies the effects of the posture so that you can experience the benefits even more quickly. It's a funny story. They used to think that Breath of Fire increases weight loss. So there were these stories of people sitting around in rooms for hours at a time doing Breath of Fire. It can make you feel really lightheaded and dizzy. I wouldn't recommend that. You have to start slow. You have to start with maybe 30 seconds, work up to a minute. Maybe you'll get to a couple of minutes, but it is very, very detoxifying. So what can happen is people start reverse breathing. It's on the exhale that the belly moves back towards the spine. And if you reverse the breath, you end up feeling like you're hyperventilating. You'll know right away because you'll feel quite dizzy. So if that happens, you just stop and go to long, deep breathing. So just start slow with that practice.
Wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, I know for myself, just that feels like home to me now, and it's my go-to if I need to find neutral. I go there because that neutral inhale, exhale, but kind of powered by the exhale and just hanging out. It feels so good, and so I highly encourage everyone here to, learn Breath of Fire. If you're confused, just find a teacher near you who can teach it to you and bring it into your life, because what it does is it enlivens the pranic energy within you, your life force, which then starts to shift your energetic state and your frequency quite quickly. And then boom, before you know it, you're looking at the world and you're looking at yourself and your issues with new eyes. And that's always good.
One thing I wanted to mention for people who are intimidated with starting yoga, I mean, I've been running our studios here in Vancouver for 25 years, so I see a lot of people in all stages of their practice, and people are intimidated because they look at these images of these yogis that can do incredible things with their bodies that many of us will never achieve. The nice thing about Kundalini is, honestly, the postures are so simple that anybody can do them. You can make them more intense. You can really ramp up the intensity if you want to, but the actual movement is very, very simple. And it's a very freeing practice because the movements are also a little bit awkward. Like, nobody looks good doing this practice. So you can forget all about that competitive aspect that can creep into your practice that really shouldn't. It should never be there.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. What a great reminder. Yeah, these are practices for everybody, no matter what shape, size, personality, whatever you are, you're going to be led to an integrated state if you dive into these practices. Just wanted to see if there's anything final you'd like to share with our viewers here today, Gloria.
Yeah, we started talking about potential, and Kundalini energy is that untapped potential. And as I mentioned, I've had these studios for so many years now. I've seen so many students just interacting with different people day after day, and other people can see that potential in you, and you often don't see it in yourself. And there is so much available to you, and it really is time to get out of your own way. And there really is a method to do this. There is a technology, there are real practical tools available to you right now that you should start, and you should never stop.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And I really implore all of you who are watching us here today just to take that to heart. These are tools that work, and there's a way, as Yogi Bhajan said, there's a way through every block. There's a way that we can self-activate and self-actualize through these practices. And so let's just get to it individually. The more of us that are practicing, that are unhooking from the momentum of unconsciousness, then the more potential there is for everybody to wake up to the next level of their being. And I think that's really what is being asked of us at this time, when the world's polarized and people are feeling disconnected and suffering. So let's, as Gloria has so beautifully said today, let's get onto a soul journey, and let's start to tune into our purpose and find ways to be balanced and connected in life. So Gloria, how can people get in contact with you? I think you have some wonderful courses online, and of course you have your yoga studios in Canada. So how can they find you?
You can simply look me up on social under Gloria Latham, or you can visit my site, glorialatham.com.
Wonderful, super easy, beautiful, so many blessings.
Thank you for joining us for the Awaken Your Kundalini Summit, brought to you by the Shift Network. To learn more, visit awakenyourkundaliniSummit.com. To join our global community of people awakening to their divine humanity and taking inspired action, visit theshiftnetwork.com. Thank you again for gathering with us and for sharing this life-enhancing path with your friends and family.